OFC TV proudly support Athletics Auckland. Manukau in Auckland, it's a cold, it's a wet day, but it is idyllic. It is a beautiful course. It's a combination of flat and hilly running for the 2015 Auckland Cross Country Championships. Well, welcome to Barry Curtis Park here in Auckland for the Auckland Cross Country Championships. It is the last race in the Auckland Cross Country Series and an opportunity for the best runners in Auckland and the wider Auckland community to have their final hit out before the New Zealand Cross Country Championships in a couple of weeks' time in Christchurch. Now, cross country running, it is tough by nature. It is tough, it is tenacious, it requires a strong head. What makes this course today even more difficult is the fact it is very cold. Yes, I'm standing here in my beanie and a thick jacket. It's heavy underfoot, we've had squalls, we've had rain, but you talk to this hardy bunch, they don't care, they just simply think it doesn't get any better than this. Well, let's have a look at today's course here at Barry Curtis Domain. It is vast in its sheer nature, but it is predominantly flat. Each lap is 2 kilometres and it is multi-lapped according to the age group you're in, right through to the elite men and women. There are some tricky parts though. Athletes are going to need to maintain their concentration. Once they come off the flat section here, they make their way around the back of Barry Curtis Park. It gets very zigzaggy, having to take left-hand turns, right-hand turns. Footing is going to become so important. Once they have got into their work, they ultimately will make their way around the back of Barry Curtis Domain, and it is there that the first real hills come, the first real challenge, the opportunity, I guess, for the athletes to make their little move, to make their break, to maybe just test their fellow competitors, find out who's had a good night's sleep, find out who's done the work, just simply find out who's having a good day and who's having a bad day. We're on the back part of the 2 kilometre lap here at Barry Curtis Domain for the Auckland Cross Country Championships, and it is this part of the course where ultimately the move will probably end up being made from those athletes trying to want to distance themselves from the chasing group. It doesn't look like much, but it is very heavy underfoot. The grass is long, there's been a lot of rain, it's very muddy. And directly behind me is where the athletes will descend. At the bottom of that, it is a hard little right-hand turn and they have to make their way up just a gradual slope. I say gradual. Yes, if you're jogging it, it's easy. But when you're running above your threshold, when you are suffering, it is going to feel like climbing Mount Everest. Mount Everest indeed. It certainly is cold as Mount Everest, I'd imagine, for a number of the athletes, but it is an idyllic setting. It is a really beautifully balanced course here today as we see our elite athletes going through their final preparations. These are well-established protocols, plenty of experience. It is an opportunity today for the juniors, the senior men, the senior women's to test themselves out prior to the New Zealand Cross Country Championships. Looking at our start list in the men's race, and very much this is a wonderful field. Mike Banks, Matt Baxter, and it is Baxter everybody's going to need to chase. The challenges will also come from the likes of Malcolm Hicks and the very impressive Jono Jackson.
Well, Matt Baxter's been pretty hot this season, and Hicks is just a class act, so I'll be trying to hang with them as long as possible, and if I'm there with a sniff, 2k to go, I should be sort of, in with a chance of winning.
Oh, he's tough, Jono Jackson. Recently finished 4th at the Rotorua Marathon. It's a small field, but it is a quality field in this men's race. These athletes now have gone through their warm-ups, their nervous systems are ready to go. And look at our pre-race favourite, Matt Baxter. And we are underway. This is going to be a very fast first kilometre. And we've just got an athlete there who seems to have missed the start, underestimated his warm-up, and the officials are saying no, you're going to have to start behind the start line, and that is fair enough too. So already somewhat disadvantaged. And already we see Matt Baxter, Malcolm Hicks, Jono Jackson, Johnny McKee looking to take it out quickly as we see our final competitor get off the start line.
So across the top there you can see Matt
So
Baxter,
already
Jono Jackson,
a group of four beginning to emerge at the front of this race. Matt Baxter from Auckland City Athletics doing what he's done so far throughout the series, looking to try and take control early. Thomas Curry there in the white cap and the colours of North Shore Bays Athletics.
The leading here is Matt Baxter from Jono Jackson, Malcolm Hicks and Mike Banks.
As we start to see this quality group of athletes looking to settle in, looking to try and find a more balanced rhythm. Always fast and furious in cross-country running, and the more inexperienced athletes tend to go out too hard and ultimately pay for it. Unless your name is Matt Baxter, and that is very much his style. He likes to go from the front, he likes to ask questions early. So William Harris there from the Wesley Athletic Club as well. Good quality group of four runners. Baxter though, he is prepared to run from the front. The more inexperienced athletes often tend to go out too hard over cross country and ultimately pay for it on the back half of the course. This is not the case. It's the way Baxter likes to run. Likes to just put that little bit of doubt in the heads of the other athletes. And the yellow and black there from the Wesley Athletic Club, the very impressive Malcolm Hicks. Looking to try and just close the gap. Hicks and Jackson on Matt Baxter. Maybe just play a few psychological games with Matt Baxter. You might have put the attack on, but you haven't dropped us just yet. However, in saying that, that gap just begins to open up somewhat. Wonderful form from Baxter. Boy, he looks good. Considering just how tough conditions are underfoot, he almost looks like he's running on the track as we have a first look at Johnny McKee from the Pakuranga Club. Thomas Curry from North Harbour Bays. And one of the difficulties about a small field is that you can find yourself isolated. Very hard to maintain that concentration. Hard often to push yourself as hard as you'd like to. You tend to sort of settle in and say, you know what, I'm happy here, I'm happy, I'm comfortable, I've found my happy place. That good battle now developing for second and third between Hicks and Jono Jackson. And it is Malcolm Hicks, the tall figure, who's gone to the front. And just extending that lead from the Auckland City Athletics Club is Matt Baxter. And you just wonder whether these two athletes have already raised the white flag. But Jono Jackson beginning to surge. We know he's got plenty of strength. Spends a lot of time up in the Waitakere Ranges, running the Waiatarua, the famous run established by the great Arthur Lydiard. Very much the blueprint for success for the athletes out of the 1960s and 70s. Just see the water coming up there, again just demonstrating, while it might be blue skies above, it's certainly not the case underfoot. So 6 laps for our elite men, 2 kilometres per lap. Plenty of opportunities on this course to just get a gauge on where your fellow competitors are, those competitors behind you, those competitors in front of you. Do the maths in your head. Get a sort of a sense of whether athletes are struggling or not. So a hearty bunch of spectators as they look at Matt Baxter. He'd have to say, based on what he's done so far this season throughout the Auckland Cross Country Series, and what he appears to be doing right here and now, it's got to be one of the real pre-race favourites for the New Zealand Athletics Cross Country Championship, set to go in Christchurch on August 1st. So these runners, some of them will be, from the moment they set off, will be feeling quite good. Others, it might have taken them a lap or two just to come right. And that's the thing you've always got to believe. If you're going through a bit of a bad patch, you will come right. So a couple of our athletes towards the back of this elite men's race. We've got Jonathan Smith there, a visitor out of Dunedin. As we see a decisive move now in the battle for second and third. Malcolm Hicks from the Wesley Athletic Club, part of the Wesley Warriors. puts a little surge on. Jono Jackson looking to try and respond. But Matt Baxter, wonderful form. New Zealand junior record holder over 3,000 metres, beating Phil Starr's record for around 8:14. Hasn't been in the best form over the last couple of seasons, but really starting to come in to the form of his life in 2015. So Jono Jackson's got some work to do if he's to close that gap on Malcolm Hicks and to move himself into second place as they complete another lap. And just the contrasting form here between those athletes at the back and what we've seen from Matt Baxter up at the front. Another one of the Wesley Warriors, Tom Hunt. What I like about Matt Baxter is that he probably senses he's in control, but he's not prepared to back off. He understands the importance of having a good hit out prior to the New Zealand Cross Country Championships. Wants to go back to his coach and build his final preparation for the Nationals around having a hard hit out today. Really, that form just hasn't changed at all. That's a great sign. Beautifully balanced runner. No head movement, no shoulder movement. This is the contrasting form of this competitor here out of the Takapuna Athletic Club. William Harris, Ben Moynihan, having a nice little duel amongst themselves. Great fight here coming from Johnny McKee of Pakuranga. He really just has closed the gap on Malcolm Hicks, on Jono Jackson, and that's we talked about that earlier. Sometimes it just takes athletes a little bit longer to find their form, to feel good, and often it just requires that little hill, something just to elevate the heart rate just that little bit more for you to come right. And I think that is a classic example of what we are seeing. So Jono Jackson really trying to fight for second place. Now he's got a fight on his hands to see if he can just hang on for third. Well, very much the training ground Manukau Manurewa for the great John Walker. And I'm pretty sure if Sir John Walker was here today, he'd be very impressed with the form of Matt Baxter. These are lead athletes at the front. They always make it look so easy. But easy comes through hard work, good preparation, years of hard training. As we see Tom Hunt from the Wesley Athletic Club. Malcolm Hicks now looks to have second place. All to himself, but he's going to need to maintain that concentration. You can be bulletproof at 8 kilometres in a cross-country event like this over 12 kilometres and find yourself really struggling at the 10k mark. So Matt Baxter really is in complete control, and this part of the course they're through probably just around about the 1500 metres of each 2k lap. Predominantly flat, but the little downhill does come, and then the hard right-hand turn back up the hill. And it just burns, takes a bit of a sting out of the legs each time, and that's where you've really just got to concentrate on form. And if you can get up that climb each time, there is an opportunity at the top of it just to settle back down, bring the heart rate down, and maintain good running form. And this is a perfect example of it from Baxter. Such an impressive athlete, Matt Baxter. I'd love to see what he could do overseas. In great form in 2015. If you can run well at cross-country level, you can run well on the road and on the track. And he is about to come down the finish line and take out the 2015 Auckland Cross Country Championships in emphatic fashion, a time of 41 minutes and 12 seconds. That is a wonderful run from a very talented young man. And in second place from the Wesley Athletic Club, it is Malcolm Hicks. A wonderful battle between himself and Jono Jackson. He has a wee look over his left shoulder and we'll see Jono Jackson out of the corner of his eye. Hicks the silver medal. Time of 41 minutes and 35 seconds. And then the strength-based athlete, Jono Jackson, rounds out our top three. Gutsy performance too from Johnny McKee of Pakuranga. I just wonder if things could have been different, if perhaps he had just maybe found that form a little earlier on.
Well, an impressive performance today. I mean, you led from start to finish and you look comfortable. Was it as easy as it looked?
No, I mean, it was pretty rough, especially underfoot was pretty muddy. And I knew that Jono and Malcolm were chasing the whole way. So, yeah, I mean, it probably looks easier than it actually was.
Yeah, it looked like things closed up a little bit on that second lap. What was the tactic once the boys sort of bridged the gap a bit?
No, I was gauging myself each time going through to see where they were. And yeah, I noticed 2 laps to go a little bit and a lap to go they were really picking it up. So I was just trying to sort of chill myself out a little bit, so once coming into the last K I had a little bit as well as them, I guess.
2 weeks time, New Zealand Cross Country Championships, does this give you the confidence you need?
Yeah, I guess so. The season's been good so far, so yeah, I mean, I was always interested to see how I stacked up a bit against Malcolm.
Well, Jono Jackson, early on, it probably became apparent that really it was going to be a race for second and third.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Matt Baxter classic, going out hard and balls to the wall the whole way, so it was quite apparent really early on that it was going to be a race for second, because he made a pretty sizable lead early on, and then a sort of a tussle between Hicksy, me and Johnny McKee, who actually bridged the gap in about halfway. So it was a good tough race and good preparation for Nationals.
Well, Malcolm Hicks, second today. Very hard to gauge just how tough it was when you stand back and watch it, but I'd imagine it was pretty brutal.
Yeah, it's a gritty race. You know, it's 12 k's in the mud. It's kind of the top end of what I do in terms of distance. But no, it was hard. It looks quite nice and green out there, but it's actually you know, ankle deep in water half the course. So yeah, no, it was a good race and a good head out. Matt took it out hard and kind of blew the wheels off us in the first lap. So we just settled in and fought out the last 10k really.
And just confirming the results, Matt Baxter, Malcolm Hicks, Jono Jackson, your top three. Good racing amongst the men's. The veterans are out on the course. Coming up next, we've got our senior women and our juniors. Time now to take a look back at the 2015 Rotorua Marathon. And ladies and gentlemen, we want you to take part in 2016. It's an iconic event. It's one of the great events on the New Zealand athletics calendar. And hey, it caters for everybody. There's 5k fun runs, 10k events, walking events, half marathons, and of course the full distance itself. Great crowds. You'll get to feel like $1 million when you come down Victory Lane.
Well, it's not open water swimming we're bringing you today, it's actually cross-country running, the last of the Auckland cross-country series. It is an opportunity for the best runners in Auckland to have their final hit out before the New Zealand Cross-Country Championships.
And let's have a look at the starting list today for our senior women. Lucy Van Dalen, number 9 down there, an Olympic Games representative from 2012. Very much the athlete to beat, but the challenge will also come from Penny Peskett. So alongside of our elite women, we've also got the junior men's, and we are underway. 8 kilometres for both our junior men's and our elite women. 4 laps of 2 kilometres. And immediately we see Lucy Van Dalen go to the front in the elite women's race. And at the front of the junior men's, it's Kona Wilson from the Wesley Club, who's just recently come from winning the New Zealand Secondary School Championships out of Auckland Grammar School. Off
often at junior level it can be a little bit more ferocious than at the elite level. There's probably not the experience there in terms of pace judgment. But Lucy Van Dalen has already gone clear of Penny Pescott. Esther Keown from the North Harbour Bays Athletics Club there in the black and the fluorescent yellow. And just behind her is Ashley Williams from the Auckland City Athletics Club. Good group of men though, chasing Kona Wilson, the likes of Daniel Coates, Max Zorn, Hayden Roger. Got Luke Fielding in this field as well. Penny Pescott, this is the chase group. Lucy Van Dalen's gone clear, already through the first lap. As we go back to the front of the junior men's race and we see Kona Wilson. Esther Keown now from North Shore Bays, deciding that she wants to just move to the front and see if she can perhaps close that gap on Lucy Van Dalen. So athletes early on just really trying to get a sense of who's feeling good, who's not. Wilson here, this very impressive junior, well, he's adopted the approach that we saw from Max Baxter in the elite race, and that's just go hard from the gun and put doubt on the head of the chase group. And Lucy Van Dalen, Commonwealth and Olympic Games representative out of the collegiate program in the United States. Great to have her back here running in New Zealand. As we go back through the field of our juniors, the future stars of New Zealand athletics, young Daniel Coates here, the blonde hair, the colours of the Auckland City Athletics Club. Lucy Van Dalen, she really hasn't competed in a cross country here in New Zealand for a number of years. So welcome home, Lucy. Quintessential New Zealand conditions, probably the best way of describing it, as we see Esther Keown leading the chase group. Esther coached by Paul Hamlin. Paul, a very good 1500 metre runner in his day, finished fourth in the Commonwealth Games 1500 metre final behind Nick Willis back in 2006. And a number of New Zealand's leading coaches out here today, the likes of Chris Pallone, looking at some of the young chargers. And for a lot of these junior athletes, this is just an opportunity to gain valuable experience. Lucy Van Dalen, she's a twin, her sister Holly, an outstanding runner. Both attended Stony Brook University in New York, graduated in 2012. And this very impressive Connor Wilson with his white headband, nice and retro looking, as we now have a look at Penny Pescott, who looks to have gone clear and currently is in second place, coached by Chris Pallone. Good form too, nice and upright. Husband Andrew Pescott, out of Auckland Grammar School many years ago, was one of the original pioneers of mountain running. And I know Andrew was having a wee trot today, just in the veteran men's, and still very competitive. Penny Pescott winning round 4 of the Auckland Cross Country Series at Long Bay. A look here at Freenah Sands, number 143. Great to have athletes out here competing. This is tough. It takes a lot to get out on a cold, miserable day, punish yourself in probably the hardest format of the sport, which is cross-country running. But talking of hard, he's making it look easy. Kona Wilson comes down to take out the junior title to go alongside of his New Zealand secondary schools title. And here comes Lucy Van Dalen, one of New Zealand's leading women runners. First time back in New Zealand for a long time. And she will come down and take out this Auckland cross-country title. She'll do it comfortably and head to the New Zealand Cross Country Championships in Christchurch as the pre-race favourite.
Welcome home. It's the first time we've seen you race in New Zealand for some time.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's good to be back, and yeah, it's a good way to start in the mud. I'm used to pristine golf courses over in the States, so this was really like a tough course, but really good to get back into things and the Kiwi way. Yeah.
And what is the philosophy behind running some cross country? What are you hoping to achieve out of it?
Yeah, I haven't raced since Commonwealth Games, and so I just want to get my strength back and before I start doing speed work. So I think the best way to do that is to get into cross country and road races, because they're a bit of a grind compared to 1500 metres.
Penny Pescott second today behind Lucy Van Dalen. Were you happy with your run?
Yeah, it was a good run on a muddy course. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you look light on your feet. Conditions above didn't look too bad. How heavy was it?
It was pretty boggy in parts. I lost my shoe on the last lap coming up the last hill, so stopped and tried to get it back on, realised I wasn't and thought I'd better carry on up the hill.
Third place today. Was it a good run? Did you feel comfortable?
I wouldn't say comfortable. It was very muddy, so it was quite painful picking the legs up on the fourth lap at least. Yeah, no, it was good. It was a good race. I was happy.
And confirming our women's results, Lucy Van Dalen, Penny Pescott, Esther Keon and Ashley Williams rounding out our top 4. The junior men's will Kona Wilson of Auckland Grammar, Daniel Coates, Mac Zorn, Hayden Rogers, but not a lot separating them. The signs for the future look good. Well, on behalf of OFC TV, Athletics Auckland, it's been a privilege and a pleasure bringing you coverage of the 2015 Auckland Cross Country Championships. We wish all the athletes who competed today the very best at the upcoming National Cross Country Championships in Christchurch. They're a tough, tenacious bunch.